Hello there, thanks for joining me this Wednesday. I'm Muhammad Ahmad Hamdan and these are your top stories. No more exams for years 1 to 3 from 2019. 20,000 Malaysian men estimated to die from smoking-related diseases annually. And body of downed Lion airplane may have been located. We'll begin the bulletin this evening with the Level 1 examination for primary school students in Standards 1, 2 and 3 that will be abolished beginning next year. Education Minister Dr. Mazli Malik said this through his Twitter account earlier today. He said the examination format will be replaced with a more objective assessment starting 2019. He, however, did not elaborate on the assessment nor its mechanism. Mazli also retweeted several tweets from the official Education Ministry's account that detailed several initiatives that his ministry is or would be undertaking in the near future. Following his initial tweet, the minister posted on his Facebook page explaining that his intention is to switch the exam-oriented mentality and culture at schools with a more learning-centered approach and assessment. He added that more changes would be made in 2019 and it will be announced in stages. He also assured that the ministry will work harder to change and improve the country's education system. Now, to give more insights on the newly announced decision by the Education Ministry, on the line with us is the National Union of the Teaching Profession, NUTP Secretary General Harry Tan Huat Hock. Hi, Harry. Now, first of all, what do you think about the announcement and why? And do you agree with it?
Announcement of the exam format change to objective assessment by our Honourable Minister. We truly support this move towards the direction of relieving our students from this exam pressure. Now, students in the primary schools, they are too prime for doing well in the current exam formats. That means we are encouraging them to learning by heart or rote learning. And then we also tell them directly that in order to do well in life, you must get a lot of or many A's or even a good position in a class. However, this is not true. We should allow our students in the primary schools to be playing, to enjoy their formative years. They must, they must have more time to learn to run, to be able to grow up, and to learn about values, to learn about love, respect, and mutual understanding. All right. So we definitely agree with the minister's suggestion, and we welcome the suggestion. And in fact, we are asking for more. We are actually advocating the abolishment of the primary school assessment in year 6, or more fondly known to the public as the UPSR. All right. So the reason why we are advocating this is because the exam has turned into an industry.
Now, this move has brought about mixed reactions from parents. What's your take on this?
I think this is a vicious circle because the parents, their ultimate aim is to ensure that their children do well in school. So if the schools are skewed, or as I said just now earlier, if UPSR is now an industry, that means they are only skewed towards getting A's. So in the parents' view, getting a good position or getting many A's would be an indicator of the students or their children's success. This is not true because we as educators, we see that education should be holistic and they should be viewed from all angles, all aspects, from their physical aspects to their emotional aspects to whatever they want to do. And of course, we are strongly for that education should be fun for the students. And if you look at our current system, if you go to any national schools, coming towards UPSR or during the exam time, there'll be classes after classes for during the day and also during the night for their tuition. And then we have paid motivators coming to the schools to motivate the students, so as to speak. All right, and then we also have students with heavy school bags because they have lots of or many workbooks in their bags. So it's an industry, and it's very hard to fight that if the education or the education propagates the exam formats that the current exam formats that we have currently.
Right, thank you, Harry, for your time and for your insights. Moving on, political parties, in the meantime, may be allowed to establish their branches at public universities after amendments were made to the University and College Act 1971, or AUKU. Dr. Mazli Malik said the amendments were in line with the government's move to lower the country's voting age limit to 18 years. He added this would allow university and college students to be involved in politics, including nominating themselves as a candidate in an election without any restrictions. The new ruling will only be applicable to public universities bound by AUKU. Malaysia dropped to 22nd place from 13th last year in English proficiency ranking for non-native English speakers, while two other Asian countries, Singapore and the Philippines, were ranked higher than Malaysia. The 2018 report, however, states that Malaysia's average adult English proficiency remains in the high proficiency band, and it has for all the past editions for the EF-EPI. The latest survey by the EF English Proficiency Index, or EF-EPI, stated that Malaysia's average adult English proficiency remains in the high proficiency band. Singapore moved to third place from fifth last year, making it the first Asian nation to enter the top 3 slots. The Philippines took the 14th spot this year from 15th last year. This year, Sweden took the top spot overall from the Netherlands, which dropped to second place. The EF-EPI is an international proficiency benchmark for non-native English speakers gauged through online test scores from 1.3 million test takers in 2017. One of the key findings, according to the survey, is that English proficiency has not improved in Asia, despite high levels of investment in the language. Women also continue to outpace men in English skills worldwide, and this gender gap has been widening since 2016. Now, 4 Bank Negara Malaysia officers have been asked to take leave of absence amid an internal review over a controversial 2 billion ringgit land purchase. The probe began last August following allegations that the land had been sold to Bank Negara to raise funds and bail out One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB. In a statement, Bank Negara said the internal review is still ongoing and the officers have opted to take a leave of absence to facilitate the review. A local daily reported the leave directive came from the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission to facilitate a thorough investigation into the land sale which took place in January. It was alleged that the central bank had overpaid for the land, a claim Bank Negara has since denied. In June, former Bank Negara Governor Tan Sri Muhammad Ibrahim announced his resignation amid the controversy. It was reported that the land sale proceeds were used to service One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB's debt obligations through the Finance Ministry then. Arau MP Datuk Sri Shahidan Kasim is considering taking legal action on those responsible for circulating reports alleging him of molest on an underage girl. The former minister in the Prime Minister's department said he hopes that all parties would not deliberate further on the issue and allow room for the police to conduct investigations, although an initial police report by the teenage girl's family has been withdrawn. In a media conference today, Datuk Sri Shahidan revealed that the police had called him up over the alleged molest of an underage girl and did not dismiss the possibility that his political adversaries had a hand in the accusation.
Saya akan bincang dengan peguam lah. Tapi sudah pasti saya tidak berdiam diri lah. Pun saya kesal ni sebab dia melibatkan kanak-kanak dan gambar IC tu yang dipamerkan. Kesian budak-budak ni, tak ada pasal-pasal. Dia bukan ada kepentingan apa.
He further explained that his encounter with the girl's family at Tabasco's group performance, which the girl participated in, was to hand over some donation.
Saya berjumpa dengan ahli keluarga penyanyi tersebut dan terkejut dimaklumkan kepada saya yang mereka telah membuat laporan polis atas dasar salah faham dan mereka telah menarik balik laporan tersebut. Saya tidak mengambil hati kerana kami telah bermaaf-maafan.
Previously, Malaysian Crime Watch Task Force My Watch chairman Dato' R. Sri Sanjeevan reportedly claimed there was an attempt to cover up a molest case of a 15-year-old girl by a Perlis VIP. He alleged that the girl was molested by the MP in a car in Kangar on October 20th, but no action was taken by the police. Yesterday, the Bukit Aman Sexual, Women and Child Investigations Division, D11, reported that they have recorded Datuk Sri Shahidan's statement for 6 hours to assist their probe on the allegations. On to the Dewan Rakyat sitting, members of parliament were informed that the World Health Organization WHO estimates that 20,000 adult males in Malaysia will die each year from smoking-related diseases. If tobacco control is not tightened, the government is bound to bear medical costs amounting to 7.4 billion ringgit by 2025.
Hasil kajian the relationship between real cigarettes price and affordability index to purchase cigarettes in Malaysia pada tahun from 1985 to 2015 menunjukkan rakyat Malaysia masih mampu membeli rokok walaupun cukai rokok dinaikkan dan harga ditingkatkan. Ini adalah kerana kenaikan cukai rokok masih rendah berbanding dengan kenaikan taraf hidup dan pendapatan rakyat. Oleh itu, cukai ke atas rokok perlu ditingkatkan secara konsisten dengan mengambil kira pertumbuhan inflasi dan pendapatan negara.
He added a study conducted by University Kebangsaan Malaysia UKM last year found that the annual cost to treat the 3 chronic diseases related to smoking stood at 2.92 billion ringgit. 67.5% of the cost is borne by the government, while the remaining 32.5% is borne by the patient. Now, the lawmakers were also told that Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad is scheduled to be in Singapore for a visit on November 12th, among others to discuss the 1961 and 1962 water agreement with the Republic that will benefit both parties. This following the exceptionally low price of raw water at 3 cents per 1,000 gallon. Deputy Foreign Minister Senator Dato' Marzuki Yahya told the members of Parliament that the government was firm in its stand to discuss with Singapore for a review of the price of raw water supplied to the Republic.
Kerajaan Malaysia begitu komited dan tegas tentang soal pendirian isu air ini dan kita tidak akan mengalah sama sekali dan kita akan terus menjalankan usaha-usaha perbincangan. Dan saya nak memaklumkan juga pada Dewan Yang Mulia ini bahawa pada 12 November 2018 iaitu Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri akan ke Republik Singapura dan mungkin juga antara satu daripada isu yang akan dibincangkan juga adalah mengenai kedudukan harga air pada Singapura.
Dato' Marzuki noted that based on the provisions in the Water Agreement 1961 and 1962, the price of raw water supplied by the country could be reviewed after 25 years. As such, he said Malaysia had the right to review the price of the water as provided under the law. Meanwhile, at a press conference, Dr. Mahathir said his administration was still studying the effects of the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or CPTPP. The Prime Minister in August said Malaysia has to honour the CPTPP as the previous Barisan Nasional government had already signed up as a member. However, the government has yet to formally ratify the pact to date.
Actually, signed the agreement what remains is to ratify the agreement. We are studying it very deeply to make sure that it doesn't have a bad effect on our economy. I can't give you the exact date, but we are looking at it.
Earlier, New Zealand said CPTPP will come into force at the end of December. Malaysia is one of the 5 countries that has not yet ratified the deal. The Premier earlier this year called for a review of the trade agreement, saying smaller economies like Malaysia were at a disadvantage under the current terms. When asked to comment if the government were considering providing any incentives for small and medium industries, the Prime Minister said incentives and subsidies are bad for Malaysians, and they could even lose the ability to think one day if they become too dependent on such aid. He stressed the mentality of relying on incentives was wrong, made worse by the practice of the previous government.
Everyone incentive, why not just take the profit? We give you money. That's what the previous government did. They gave money to people. You don't have to work. You know, you don't work also, you get $500. If Malaysians become like that, very soon they can't even think, they can't even move, they can't do anything for themselves because always looking up for subsidy.
The National Policy for Industry 4.0, branded Industry Forward, is a tailor-made policy for Malaysia as a response to the 4th industrial revolution occurring worldwide, which focuses on the small and medium enterprises in the manufacturing sector. In 2005, methadone replacement therapy, MRT, was among the components included in a program to resolve the issue of opiate addiction in the country. After 13 years, how effective is it? And is it worth what the government is spending on the program? For those who have been involved in drug addiction, your life does not have to end here. Methadone replacement therapy is one of the efforts introduced to kick out opiate addiction, while at the same time addresses the issue of curbing HIV and AIDS. Statistics from year 2005 to 2017 showed that there are more than 95,000 registered methadone users across Malaysia, with 42,000 of them seeking MRT in government clinics. 53,000 more registered users in private facilities. Research has shown that approximately 60% of drug addicts are still continuing with the therapy, a number seen as an achievement. Among the success stories recorded, the treatment has managed to curb 1,600 new cases of HIV infections, thus saving healthcare expenses of up to 3.85 million ringgit.
Dengan komitmen kita meneruskan rawatan metadon ini, kita jangkakan menjelang tahun 2050 ya, kita akan dapat mengurangkan jangkitan HIV di Malaysia ini sebanyak 38,000 kes dan menjimatkan kos penjagaan kesihatan sebanyak 265.1 juta ringgit Malaysia.
Dr. Fazida said although the addiction of opiate cases have been reduced due to the rise of usage of synthetic drugs, the MRT program is needed to help current drug addicts combat their addiction in the long term. And for some, it's a program which they need for a lifetime. The Sungai Buloh Kajang SBK MRT line has failed to reach its target of 250,000 passengers a day after 1 year of operations. According to a research conducted by the Centre for Governance and Political Studies, CENT-GPS, the MRT was initially constructed to connect the B40 and M40 income groups to city centres and commercial areas. However, as of March 2008, the SBK MRT recorded a ridership of only 140,000 passengers a day, 110,000 less than its initial projection. The MRT report, The Affordability of Homes Surrounding MRT Stations by CENT-GPS, found that houses within 1 kilometre of the MRT stations, such as Pusat Bandar Damansara and Sungai Buloh, were beyond the affordability range of the B40 and M40 groups.
Ask yourself, will someone who can pay a house, who can buy a house for 700,000, 800,000, would even want to live near an MRT, or would even take the MRT, or would even put an MRT in their consideration to own a house. If I were to pay 4,000 ringgit a month for my mortgage, I'd drive to work because I'd be earning 15,000 ringgit a month. So it's not just the government itself, but it's also the way we look into buying and selling properties and how we invest towards it.
Meanwhile, only 8 out of the 31 MRT stations had properties within 1 kilometre that are affordable to the M40 group. None had any property affordable to the B40 group.
Number one, I think government should really look into having available land banks. That is for MRT2, and if they were planning for the MRT3, we would look into pairing it with government initiatives. Like before this government had Prima, I don't know what the new government has in mind. They want to build like affordable housing for the M40. They could align their projects with the MRT stations.
He also thinks that there needs to be a market correction in terms of property prices without intervention from the government, and making loans easier to obtain for people who cannot afford high property prices is only a recipe for loan defaults in the future. Coming up next, second heartbreak for actress Eliana. The details when we return. Don't go away. Welcome back. Now let's take a look at clickbait for what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Kindness is a wonderful way to let another struggling soul know that there is still love in this world. But that's not the case for singer and actress Eliana M. Rizal, or better known as Eliana. The Dukun's actress has bravely opened up about living with stage 4 cancer during a music showcase last year. However, the usually cheerful and lively artist recently went through a meltdown after she was schooled by a comment made by her social media follower. According to the comment, the user attempted to educate her on protecting her aurat and even implied that her cancer was a result of her sins. It was believed that the post had caused the 31-year-old actress felt utterly disappointed. In a response to her follower afterwards, Eliana, who was deeply hurt, wrote that she would be stopping all her cancer treatments before the page was deleted. Despite the upsetting posts, Eliana official fan page has assured fans that she is still undergoing her cancer treatment based on a photo posted up on the page. Now, we wish Eliana a speedy recovery and hope she continues to remain strong during her battle. And folks, let's all learn to be a little kinder to each other, as we never know what people are going through in their life. Now, updated as of 7 p.m, here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. The 2019 budget to be tabled this Friday will provide an opportunity for Malaysia to stabilise its economy and regain growth momentum. Tan Sri Zeti Akhtar Aziz said the Council of Eminent Persons has submitted a number of proposals for next year's budget, but it is up to the government whether to accept and implement them.
We made many recommendations. Of course, we don't know which of the recommendations will be taken up in the budget, but we're looking forward to the budget. It's an opportunity for Malaysia to demonstrate that it's going to take the country through this period of transition to stabilize conditions and provide a platform for us to regain our growth momentum.
Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng previously said the 2019 budget, the first under the Pakatan Harapan government, will be a difficult one. He also said new tax measures will be announced on Friday to ensure the government has sufficient and stable sources of revenue for the nation's development. A special tax committee has been tasked to review existing tax incentives and ensure that these measures are still relevant in supporting high economic growth.
For this budget 2019, I really wish that the government can help us, especially the younger generation, to actually provide us with more affordable houses, because we younger generation essentially just started working and our salary is not that high, so maybe the government can help us provide incentive or maybe reduce the housing prices, especially in KL, so that we younger generation can afford to actually own a house.
We are working here, so we don't have any option unless to rent houses or to stay together with our parents. But still, we want to be independent. We want to live, to work, to support by our own self, by using our own salary. So I think I would happy to see more effort, government to work more on this housing loan mainly. Thank you.
Wish government reduce the price for house lah. For young people, we can buy, because now the price very high, so we cannot afford to buy lah.
More after the breather blast kills 7 in front of Kabul prison. Stay with us. We're back with forward news. Onto the updates on a deadly plane crash in Indonesia. Search and rescue workers believe they have found the fuselage of a Lion Air passenger jet on Wednesday. According to local military chief, divers have been sent to confirm the origin of a ping signal picked up by a search and rescue team late on Tuesday. It is reported that a 22-meter-long object had been found in waters about 32 meters deep with the help of sonar technology. The rescue team has been searching the area about 5 nautical miles from the site where the aircraft lost contact. Meanwhile, Indonesia's transport minister has ordered the removal of its technical director and several technicians in the wake of a deadly plane crash. However, it was not clear whether the removal was permanent or temporary. According to Lion Air's chief executive Edward Searight, he had not heard of the minister's order. Earlier, Lion Air's president said the plane had a technical problem on its last flight that was resolved in accordance with the manufacturer's procedures.